A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. I'm Michaela Fernando and joining us via Zoom is sign language interpreter Brian De Cruz. Before we head into more news in detail, here are a look at your headlines for tonight.
Five lives, including of a father and son, lost due to drowning in the last 24 hours. CEB says fuel is sufficient to only generate electricity until Tuesday. CPC highlights the need for a long-term plan on fuel purchases. Questions raised on the quality of fuel to be imported to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka Freedom Party's revelation on the international sovereign bond payments due on the 18th. Parish Council of the All Saints Church expresses displeasure over investigations into hand grenade discovery at the church in Boralla. Opposition leader questions as to why reliable investigations are not being carried out. Farmers lament over declining harvests. Imported beetroot in Sri Lanka's market. Tennis star Novak Djokovic deported from Australia.
Many people are currently on vacation to spend the long weekend with their family and friends. However, it is important to remember to pay heed to one's safety when on vacation. At least 5 people, including a father and his son, have died due to drowning in the past 24 hours.
10-year-old Pasindu Virakodi had left for Siripada with his father and some friends yesterday. The group had stopped midway near the Sri Palabaddala bus stand in Ratnapura to bathe in the Kalu River flowing nearby. And what followed was a tragic series of events. They were washed away by strong currents at around 6:30 p.m. One person was lucky enough to be rescued after strenuous efforts by the people nearby.
අඩේ වැඩ කර කර ඉන්නකොට සද්දයක් ඇහුණා කෑ ගහනවා කවුරු හරි. ගඟ පැත්තෙන් කෑ ගහනවා ඇහෙන්නේ. ෆෝන් එකේ ටෝච් එක පත්තු කරගෙන දිව්වා. දුවලා ඇහිලා මෙතෙන්ට බලනකොට මෙතන එක්කෙනෙක් හිටියා මේ හිටගෙන මෙහෙම ඔළුව බදාගෙන.
ඒ පාර උඩ ගෙදර පුතාලා අපි ඔක්කොම දුවලා කට්ටිය එකතු කරා. එකතු කරලා කම්බ දාලා අරවා මේව දාලා ඒ ගල උඩ හිටි පුතාව අපි බේරගත්තා. ඊට පස්සේ මුළු ගඟේ හැමතැනම අපි රෑ 1 වෙනකන් මේගොල්ලන් එව්වා.
The bodies of Pasindu's father and another person were discovered last night. The body of 10-year-old Pasindu was discovered only this morning, despite the search operations carried out last night. The father and son are residents of Nakolavila in Anguruwatota. The 22-year-old who lost his life was also a resident of Anguruwatota. He was an army officer serving at the Panagoda army camp. Residents said water levels of the river may rise due to heavy rains. They are requesting the people to remain cautious of the water levels in the river. Another death due to drowning was reported from Sevenagala yesterday. The incident had occurred when a group of pilgrims had gone to bathe at a waterway in Sevenagala at around 2:30 p.m. Search efforts to locate the body of a person who went missing due to drowning ended futile last night. The body was spotted during a search operation carried out by locals, police life-saving officers and Navy divers. The deceased was a 54-year-old father of 3.
මෙහෙට ගමට ආවන් පස්සේ ගමේ කෙනෙක් හොයලා ගමේ කෙනෙකුට අහන්න ඕන මෙතන නාන සුසු මේ ටිකේ නාන්න පුළුවන්ද අර ටිකේ නාන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා. මේ අහලා බලන්න ඕනේ මේ වගේ තැනකට බහින්න ඉතින්.
In a headline-making story, the Ceylon Electricity Board says the fuel it has received so far is only enough to generate electricity until Tuesday morning. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has given 3,000 metric tons of diesel to generate power. A special discussion is to be held next week on the supply of fuel to ensure the continuous supply of power.
We hope to discuss this again with the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation tomorrow on providing fuel until the 22nd. The debt of 80 or 90 billion which Gaman Pillai was referring to was not created under our government. If the CPC doesn't give us fuel until the 22nd, we will have to decide what we can do.
The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation said it had provided diesel to the Ceylon Electricity Board as it was an emergency requirement. The CPC says that the duration of power cuts can be extended if the CEB doesn't provide an immediate solution. The United Trade Union Federation says the government has to incur high demurrage costs for not unloading fuel consignments upon reaching the country.
The generation of hydropower has dropped by more than 20%. More than 60% of power is being generated through diesel-powered plants. Therefore, we will be left in darkness. In the coming weeks, the power cuts won't last just for a couple of hours, but for most of the day. We won't be able to prevent about 50% of the factories from closing.
The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation Chairman Sumit Vijay told Newsfirst that the fuel on 2 tankers would be unloaded after making the payments and that payments will be made for the other 2 consignments. Various views were expressed on the quality of fuel to be imported to Sri Lanka.
Why have they reduced it from octane 92 to octane 91? India is giving us a $500 million line of credit to import fuel. India uses octane 91 petrol. If we are to import petrol, we would have to import octane 91. That is suitable for Indian vehicles and not our ones.
There
are attempts to obtain support from our friendly nations, but it must be done by maintaining the quality. If issues arise in the engines and other vehicle parts after importing substandard petrol or diesel, the government must understand that it may cause another long-term problem in the country.
The fuel and power crisis has affected the people of Sri Lanka at present. Today, farmers are also facing a crisis. Many people in Badinigala Ampara cultivate corn to earn a living. They say that corn cultivations extending over 3,000 acres have failed. These crops aren't growing up to even 1.5 feet. This is a crime. We must give this to the agriculture minister. They gave us something called liquid fertilizer. The leaves keep turning yellow as we use this. I have cultivated 10 acres. This is the condition of the entire 10-acre cultivation. I have cultivated these crops by obtaining loans. What can we do to this now? How can we apply fertilizer to this? Is there any point in giving us fertilizer now? The time has lapsed. Tea cultivators in Paskoda are also facing a similar plight. They say that tea harvests are dropping as they haven't received chemical fertilizer. Tea cultivators are asking whether the government is planning on importing tea as well. We can't reap a good harvest. When we used fertilizer, we used to reap about 800 kilos of tea from an acre. Now we can't even reap 200 kilos from an acre. If we give 100 kilos of tea, we receive only 40 kilos of fertilizer. We will have to turn that fertilizer into a liquid mixture and use it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be enough. Are they trying to import tea leaves?
While tea cultivators are facing hardships due to the fertilizer crisis, beetroot cultivators are facing a similar situation. Farmers say beetroot harvests have reduced compared to the past years. The Traders Association of the Dambulla Dedicated Economic Centre says they have received a stock of imported beetroot.
ව්‍යාපාරි දෙන්නේ තුන් දෙනෙක් ටෙලිෆෝන් කරලා කිව්වා විදේශීය බීට් කියලා දෙයක් දමුලාති.
Two businessmen called us and asked whether we are aware of a stock of imported beetroot that had arrived at the Dambulla Economic Centre on Friday. I came here yesterday morning and looked into the matter. By then the entire stock had been sold. A lorry had come and given beetroot without leaves to 4 shops, claiming that they are from Nuwara. They had sold between 2,000 to 2,500 kilograms. The farmers will be completely helpless if chemical fertilizer is banned and if beetroots are being imported. Imported beetroots are piled in Dambulla. According to the information I received, the wholesale price of a kilogram of beetroot was 300 rupees. These beetroots have been imported to Sri Lanka at a cost of less than 100 rupees. Are they importing beetroots cultivated using organic fertilizer? They are claiming that there is a dollar shortage, but at the same time, they are importing products that can be cultivated here by farmers. News First inquired about this from the Secretary to the Ministry of Trade, Badrani Jayawardena. She said that permission must be obtained from the Controller General of Imports and Exports to import a product. News First then inquired about the matter from Damayanti Karunaratne, the Controller General of Imports and Exports. She said permission has not been given to import beetroot. If this is the case, who granted permission to import beetroot to the country?
The most critical crisis in our country is the dollar crisis. We are unable to import the essential medicines, fuel and coal. On the one hand, there is a power crisis. On the other hand, farmers do not have fertilizer to cultivate their lands. The country is in turmoil. The government completely neglected the experts who shared their opinions on these matters. Then the government asked us to tighten our belts. The snobbishness of the president is the main reason behind the prevailing situation of the country. He was unable to be flexible at the times where tough decisions had to be made. We made it clear that we do not need jogging tracks or highways. What we asked for was a country where the innocent people could have 3 meals a day and not die in hunger. Parliament, which holds the financial powers of the country, has been prorogued. The independence of institutions have been breached. 4 secretaries to the Ministry of Agriculture have been removed as well. Every single official who pointed out the correct thing to do was pulled by the ear and shown the way out. They spoke about the vistas of prosperity and splendor, but we cannot see any prosperity to the naked eye.
A state minister highlighted the impact faced by the country as a result of changing taxes and taking advantage of loopholes in the law.
සීනි වලට පනවා තිබුණු ආනයන බද්ද රුපියල් 50 සිට 7.25 දක්වා අඩු කළා.
The import duty on sugar was reduced from 50 rupees to 25 cents. Price controls were imposed to sell sugar at low rates to the people. Was it sold like that? The cost of sugar rose significantly. Who benefited through the tax relief? Was it the consumer? No, it was a ring of corrupt businessmen who benefited through the tax relief. This is what happened to cooking oil as well. The tax relief that didn't benefit the people cost the government 15 billion rupees in revenue. It would cost 15 billion rupees to provide Samruddhi allowances annually. This is what happened to coconut oil as well. The importer received a 20 billion rupee tax relief. But was the consumer given the benefit by reducing prices? No, they used the tax relief and sold it at the same rate. They pocketed the money. Who benefited through all these tax concessions? It was not the consumers, but the ring of thieves.
In more local news, the SLFP's senior vice chairman, Professor Rohana Lakshman Piyadasa, made a revelation today. This was on Sri Lanka's repayment of a $500 million bond on the 18th of this month.
Recently, they said that they will repay foreign debt. The central bank governor said that an international sovereign bond of $500 million would be repaid. Who invested $500 million in the international sovereign bonds? No one knows these details. The ordinary people think that the government is preparing to settle its debt. The truth is that the people who invested in these bonds are the relatives or close friends of the Rajapakshas or Cabral. They are making the bond repayment soon because their friends should receive more money. All economists have said that international sovereign bond repayments shouldn't be made now and that we must request time to repay it. All countries are seeking to defer their debt at times like this. This doesn't mean that they want to avoid repaying it. But the politicians are saying that they are preparing to repay the debt by deceiving the people and making a fool out of them. They haven't repaid the debt.
We will be right back after this short commercial break.
News First, main sponsor.
Consult a psychiatrist on the ODOC app from the privacy of your home. Sun all-purpose disinfectant spray.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Put your health first with family doctors, pediatricians, psychiatrists, cardiologists, and more specialist doctors on the ODOC app. We will also be gifting you with free delivery on Uber Eats once you consult and order your meds on ODOC.
Welcome back to the news. The Yativara Suraksha Scholarship was awarded to novice monks in the Ratnapura district today. The event was held under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa awarded scholarships to 11 novice monks who were qualified for the Diploma in International Languages at the Mahasaman Devalaya in Sabaragamuwa. The President engaged in religious observances at the Mahasaman Devalaya and also met with other devotees. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa visited the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic this morning. He called on the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Siddharth Sumangala Thero, and obtained blessings. The Prime Minister's media division said that the Thero presented a Buddha statue to Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Leader of the National Union of Workers, Palani Digambaram, organized an event in Nuwara to mark the Thai Pongal festival today. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa was present at the event that was held at the Sinesita grounds. Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, was present at the event. Estate workers in the country who toil hard to earn foreign revenue for this country were deprived of their rights.
ලක්ෂ සංඛ්‍යාත වතු කම්කරු ශේෂ්ත්‍රයේ ජනතාවට
I remember that Ranasinghe Premadasa granted citizenships to hundreds of thousands of estate workers. He won the first battle for you, which was citizenship. Ranasinghe Premadasa's son, Sajith Premadasa, is willing to win the second challenge for you, which is to upgrade estate workers into the status of small-scale tea estate owners.
India will always be with the people of Sri Lanka, with the Indian origin Tamil community, in your efforts to preserve your culture, in your efforts to develop your society and your economy. Mother India never forgets its children. India's commitment to work with Sri Lanka for the prosperity of the people of both countries will always be there. Very soon we will be starting the tendering process for 10,000 houses in upcountry, which is the fourth phase of the Indian housing program.
In more local news, the Parish Council of the All Saints Church has expressed its deep displeasure over the manner in which the investigations are being carried out with regard to the incident where a hand grenade was discovered at the All Saints Church in Borella on the 11th of this month.
The Parish Council of the All Saints Church in Borella in a release says that they very strongly condemn the cowardly and irrational acts of those who have taken steps to plant a hand grenade at the All Saints Church located on the Anandaraju Karunamavata in Borella on the 11th of January. The Parish Council said that these acts committed in such places of worship in which multitudes of people have worshipped, found solace and peace since the 18th century onwards violates the very fundamental rights of the members of their parish Parish community and impacts the very roots of the national security of all the citizens of this nation. The release added that the manner in which the police proceeded to arrest suspects even prior to viewing any CCTV footage and thereafter producing them before the court, even without properly taking into consideration all the CCTV footage evidence available in this instance. The Parish Council of the All Saints Church raised questions as to why the police insisted the CCTV footage only after 3 p.m. on the day of the incident is a great mystery against a backdrop where His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith stressed that very relevant evidence pertaining to the incident surfaced when viewing the CCTV footage in the morning of the day the incident took place. In conclusion, the Parish Council of the All Saints Church said that they very firmly appeal to all the relevant authorities and to the government to take these matters very seriously and handle these investigations with all the reasonable skill, care and due diligence. The police say that several teams are investigating the discovery of a hand grenade at the All Saints Church in Borella recently. The investigations are being conducted by the Borella Police, Colombo Crimes Division and the Colombo South Crimes Division. A senior police official told Newsfirst that the investigations are being carried out in a top secret manner.
අපේ අතිඋතුම් වූ කාඩිනල් හිමිපාණ අර මෑතකදී සිදු වුණු ග්‍රනේඩ් බෝම්බ සිද්ධිය පිළිබඳ
His Eminence the Cardinal had called on security officials to uncover the truth behind the discovery of the hand grenade. The government hasn't been able to identify the masterminds of the April 21st attacks. Even in this incident, the government, police and security units have come under severe criticism by the Catholics. This creates distrust. Many people have felt that they are hiding something that can't be erased. But this government came to power promising to uncover the truth behind the April 21st attacks, to arrest the masterminds and to punish everyone involved in it. I wish to tell the Catholics that a Samagijana Balawegya government would impose the maximum possible punishment for the masterminds of these attacks.
පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයට සම්බන්ධ මහ මුලකරුවන්ට ලබා දී යුතු දැඩිම දඬුවම ලබා දෙන්නට සමගි ජන බලවේග රජයක් තුල අපි කටයුතු කරනවා.
A massive controversy arose in the country over the April 21st attacks. They couldn't carry out the investigation successfully. It is against such a backdrop that everyone is panicking over the discovery of a hand grenade. This government created this situation. Therefore, can the government provide the people some assurance? The Cardinal and everyone else is panicking over this because the people believe that the government can't do it. I saw an official making a statement to the media. I can see that there is a lot of enthusiasm in attacking the Cardinal and offending him rather than identifying the wrongdoers.
Human Rights Watch says the Sri Lankan government has attempted to disrupt foreign funding of rights groups under the pretext of countering terrorist financing. In its 2021 annual report, Human Rights Watch said the Sri Lankan government has continued to harass and threaten victims and lawyers and groups representing them. It said intelligence agencies and the military have been interfering in the work of civil society organizations. The report read that human rights organizations reported regular visits to their officers by security agencies, including the Terrorism Investigation Division. It added that many prisoners remain in pre-trial detention lasting many years under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. The Human Rights Watch said the government suppressed freedom of expression, including by detaining and interrogating journalists. It added that the government introduced regulations to prevent sharing information relating to the pandemic. The report highlighted that the police was implicated in several unlawful deaths caused by abusive measures to curb COVID-19 and also an abusive anti-drugs policy.
Former parliamentarian Sunil Handunetti spoke about the manner in which certain groups are attempting to sabotage political meetings.
CID මහතුරුන්ට දෙයක් කියන්න ඕනේ. ඕගොල්ලෝ රාජ්‍ය බුද්ධ්‍යංශය. මතක තියාගන්න ඒක. ඕගොල්ලෝ ගෝඨාභයගේ බුද්ධ්‍යංශය නෙමෙයි. ඕගොල්ලන්ට පඩි ගෙවන්නේ හැමෝම එකතු වෙලා.
I have to say one thing to the officials at the CID. You are representing state intelligence. Keep that in mind. You are not Gotabaya Rajapaksa's intelligence. All of us pay your salaries. Therefore, you have no authority to come here and threaten a Thero. CID officials have visited this temple on 4 occasions after they got to know that this meeting was scheduled to be held. Don't you have any other duties to attend to? This is still a democratic nation. Officials from the Colombo Crimes Division have arrived at this temple at 11 in the night. I would like to publicly tell Gotabaya Rajapaksa that we will hold these meetings no matter what. So do not waste the time of these CID officials. There was a time where the leader of the state called upon the Mahasangha to discuss about the national security of the country. Therefore, we have the right to talk to the Mahasangha when there are unfair things happening in this country. The politicians only know how to market patriotism and religion to obtain votes. Please take steps to send the CID and intelligence to look into the requirements of temples. I would like to remind the CID officials that their salaries are paid by the general public. And I would like to tell Gotabaya Rajapaksa that if he will continue to act in such a manner, he will have to resort to some other path. If he is willing to attend these meetings and listen to us, call us. We will tell you what to do.
Still in local news, an extraordinary gazette notification has been published declaring that the chairman of the Mavanalla Pradesh Sabha has vacated his post. The gazette notification has been signed by the governor of the Sabragamur province, Tikiriko Bekadua.
The decision to issue the extraordinary gazette has been taken after the budget presented by the chairman of the Mavanalla Pradesh Sabha was defeated. According to the Provincial Council Act, the post of the chairman could then be considered as a vacant position. The gazette notification states that the powers of the Mavanalla Pradesh Sabha will be transferred to the deputy chairman until the budget proposal is resubmitted and passed. The governor of the Sabragamur province has also issued an extraordinary gazette notification declaring the resignation of the Balangoda Urban Council chairman Chamika Jayamini Wimalasena. This is also because the budget presented by him was defeated. The gazette notification added that the administrative powers of the Urban Council will be transferred to the deputy chairman.
The Ministry of Highways says the Central Expressway will be open for the general public from the 20th of this month as the Athugalpura entrance of the Central Expressway was declared open last evening.
The entrance fee to travel to Kurunagala and Yaggapitiya from Mirigama on the Central Expressway has been announced. 250 rupees will be charged from light and dual-purpose vehicles, while 350 rupees will be charged from buses and six-wheeled vehicles to travel on the highway. The Road Development Authority said that the minimum fare between two interchanges on the highway is 100 rupees. The Director General of the National Transport Commission, Nilan Miranda, said that the bus fares to travel on the highway will be announced in the coming 2 days. Following the opening of the Athugalpura entrance of the Central Expressway, all vehicles except motorbikes and three-wheelers were allowed to travel on the highway from 12 midnight till noon today. As a result, a large number of vehicles were seen using the highway.
The University of Kelaniya conferred an honorary doctorate on veteran filmmaker Sumitra Piris yesterday. This was during the 121st convocation of the university.
The honorary doctorate was conferred upon veteran filmmaker Sumitra Piris in recognition of her invaluable contribution towards Sri Lankan cinema. The Chancellor of the Kelaniya University, Aggamaha Pandita Most Venerable Professor Kulia PTA Mahinda Sangarakita Thero, presented the honorary doctorate.
And that is a wrap of Primetime News for today. For all these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. Take care and goodbye.